Welcome to Get Your Coin Sis podcast, the audio show designed exclusively for you. I'm Nell Latrice, your host and fellow mom on a mission to empower, inspire, and guide you on the path to financial independence. Tune in for expert advice, real life stories, and actionable tips to help you secure the bag and truly get your coin, sis. Because you deserve financial success and stability. Let's thrive together. Hey, you guys, welcome back to Get Your Coin Sis podcast. Today we have Regina Robinson joining us. She is the Inner Circle Confidence Curator. So I am going to allow Regina to give us a little synopsis about herself and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with you on this morning. And again, as she said, I'm Regina Robinson, the Inner Confidence Curator, and I am excited to be here to share with you about just being an unstoppable woman on the move and what that means to you and how you can incorporate that in your life. For me, 10 years ago, I journeyed forward from looking backwards so much that I was missing out on what was forward. And so I thank God that I was able to pivot and make that turn and get that transformation, right? To go from being broken to unbreakable. And so today, when I stand in my confidence, it's truly not just a quote unquote cliche, but it has been because I was willing to do the work. I was willing to go deep on the inside, so that I can become the greatest version of me, not just on the outside, but so that it aligned wholeheartedly from the inside. So I'm excited to be here to share with all the amazing, unstoppable women that are watching and possibly men, right?
Yes.
Because you are amazing and unstoppable as well.
Yes, amen. And I'll receive all of those good things for sure. And I'm sure my listeners do too. So, how do you define unstoppable confidence and what strategies do you recommend for women to cultivate that into their lives?
Wow. So for me, it's all about trying to help women to dig deep on the inside. Like we amazing on the outside. Our hairs look good. We got our makeup on.
Mhm.
We dressed up to the nine, right? But does what on the inside that you feel match who you are on the outside? When you can align who you are on the inside, then nothing can stop you. I always say unstoppable means I unable to stop, right? Like that means nothing can stop you. Not what you see other people doing, how far you see other people have gone. You're not in comparison mode. You are riding in your lane because your lane is designed uniquely for you. No one else can do it like you can do it. And so you are cultivating that confidence to say, I'm going to stand 10-footed in where I am, knowing that every day I'm becoming someone new, not really new, but someone greater. And so I embrace that. I embrace the failures, right? Because I'm sure once I fall, as long as I can get back up, I'm greater than I was before the fall. And so I'm going to keep journeying forward. So as you continue to cultivate your confidence, remember it's your confidence, not the confidence of what everybody else wants you to be, who they want you to be, but who you desire to be and who God has purpose for you to be.
Yes, yes, I can resonate that with that statement a lot because I feel like so I'm in my early 30s and I am just now coming into myself, like who I want to be. I do think that people and things around you kind of shape, who
Yeah.
you are. But I was like, no, I like to be me, and it's like you have to put up this facade or whatever for social media or whomever your peers are. And it's like I just like to live in me now, and I think therapy was a big helper in that and discovering who I am because I think a lot of times those confident pieces come from childhood too. So you
Yes.
kind of build upon, what you learn as a child, and it goes with you until you unlearn those ways that you learn. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's how I was able to kind of get, you know what I'm saying, into myself, into who I want to
Yes.
be.
And that's amazing that you say that, and that's amazing. And that's for any woman, young woman, or woman, because you're a woman now, right? That's hearing this podcast and that's your audience, right? Because prior to that, you were somewhat who everyone else created and wanted you to be, right? But now you're like, wait, I love this about me. I don't necessarily like that, right? And then everybody won't like when you start loving who you are, but guess what? You ain't for everybody, but you are for somebody. And so attach yourself to the people who's going to celebrate you, not not tolerate you. So you can be your greatest version and you don't have to dim your light when you walk into spaces where other people who cannot control your greatness, who cannot control your confidence, right? Because as women, we do that. So I'm
Mm,
thankful that you said that. Like now, who I am today, I love her, right? And so I just did a post yesterday that said, I'm loving her more and more every day. I'm loving me more and more
yeah.
every day. And I'm not afraid to say I'm a 51-year-old, amazing, unstoppable woman. But I'm loving me more and more every day. And it took me into my 40s to
Yeah.
start loving who I was because I was loving who the world said I should be instead of who I was happy being, who I was unapologetic about being. So now when I show up, I'm not dimming my light. I'm not shrinking back. I am who I am. You either love me or you don't.
Yes, yes. Amen to that because I had to learn that too about new people that I met. Everybody is not going to be fond of you, but some people will fake like they like you for certain
Yes.
reasons or they want to be connected to you in a certain way. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever you can bring to the table. I noticed that sometimes people leech off of that, what you can give to them. And I had to learn to discern, who was supposed to be in my circle and who I needed to be here. You don't need a whole bunch of friends. One or two friends is good enough. And you can have associates, stuff you do
That's right.
business stuff with, stuff you go out to brunch with. You can have those specific people for those things. But I had to learn that too. Like I needed to get rid of those kind of people who I felt like were leeching
Yes.
off of my energy.
Yeah, we have to protect our circle, right?
Yeah.
That's all about your inner intimate circle. Everybody does not deserve access to you.
Hmm.
Everybody does not deserve up close and personal from you because guess what? You can't
Yep.
pour from an empty cup. And so your cup has to be full. So if you have a whole bunch of people who are emptying your cup and never filling your cup back up, so you're always depleting because you're giving out. See, I had to learn that the hard way. I was always pouring out, pouring out, pouring out. And I kept saying, well, wow, who's filling my cup back up? So I had to find a different circle dynamics so that I can make sure not only am I giving in my circle, but I'm receiving in my circle as well.
Yes.
And I always say, guess what? You can't go to the ATM machine and get money out if you ain't got no money in
If
there.
you had no
So
money.
if you're looking for true friendship and reciprocity, you ought to be making deposits and not just withdrawals.
Yes, yes. And that goes, yep, for the people you have around you. It needs to be
Yes.
depositing something in some kind of form, shape, or whatever. So, can you share a success story of a woman you empowered through your work and what impact did it have on her life?
Wow. So I've had several women, but I'm going to talk about one woman in particular who I love her dearly. I met her over 10 years ago. She was a part of my inner confidence program when I first kind of launched my movement, Unstoppable Woman on the Move. She came to me, found me on social media. So don't discount social media. Use it for what it's worth, right? But don't let it blindside you. She came to me via social media and was just like, I'm just struggling. She felt like she wasn't enough. She felt like she was always comparing herself to everyone else. So we had to do the deep work. We had to go deep beneath to see why is all of that. And a lot of that comes from, like you said earlier, things that happen in our childhood. Things that we've gone through, things that we've journeyed through. And once she was able to really be able to see, wait a minute, I am enough as I am,
Yeah.
right? I am becoming greater. I am going to be that amazing woman that I desire to be. In fact, I'm already her. I just have to cultivate her. I just have to love on her. See, I'm big on the women that I coach to remind you to love on you, to hug on you, to celebrate you, to speak life into you, to affirm who you are, because the world tells you so much different than that. And so I had to continuously remind her and pour into her. She's gone through my coaching privately, through my coaching and my mentorship. She's also come to my retreats that I host. And so now she is an amazing woman of God, has always been an amazing woman of God, a first lady who loves herself, who's unstoppable, who has shown up for herself. And every day I remind her, that every chance
Mhm.
we talk, this is a everyday muscle you must build. Your confidence is a everyday pour in muscle. Every day I gotta wake up and feed my confidence muscle, right? Because on your shoulder is the negative Betty that will feed you the wrong muscle, right? And start building up your strength on the wrong muscles. But we ought to affirm every day that we are amazing, we're beautiful, we're fearfully and wonderfully made, we're unstoppable, we're the head and not the tail. We are so much more than we give ourselves credit for. So today, tap yourself on the back. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you you're amazing, you're great. I just told you. And in fact, you ought to tell yourself every single day. And that's what I remind her. And today, she's again, an amazing woman doing amazing things. And I believe God is going to use her to change the lives of so many other women. When you coach other people, it should not just be for you and the benefit of them, but it should be so that they can make a manifestation in the atmosphere that's going to impact greater for more people, that the lives that they're going to touch because of your willingness to say yes.
Yes, yes. I love that because I have to tell myself every day, it's like you're reprogramming your brain to do something different. Like you say, you're using that muscle. So you have to keep telling yourself every day over and over again those positive thoughts, because I know I used to live in a space where I was always negative, just to myself. Like, I can't do this. Oh, this too hard. How am I figure this out? It was always some kind of negative thought that I would feed myself every day. And it's like I had to retrain myself to now get out of those thoughts and to replace
Yes.
those with something better, because it is death and life is in the power of the tongue. And I
Yes,
believe
yes.
that whatever you put into the atmosphere, it comes true. So I had to start saying to myself those affirmations over and over again: what I can do, what I can achieve, what I can see myself going. And no, it
Yes.
doesn't always work out how I plan to, but it
Mm.
always works out how God wants it to work out for me.
Yes,
So I have to
yes.
be patient and remain in that faith that it's always going to work out for me.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, yes. So, what advice would you give women who want to become speakers and leverage their voice to make a global impact?
Wow. So I always say, as a midwife for speakers, because I believe that's part of my mission to help women birth their story. Your story has the power to change the world. Your story is not for you. You experienced it so that you can journey through it, so that when you get to the other side, you can be the courage and the testament for another woman who's standing on the sidelines watching you, that you don't even know is watching you and admiring you and loving you from afar, to be able to say, if it happened for her, surely it can happen for me. Same grace on my life is the same grace on your life. And so if he did it for me, surely he can do it for you. And so I believe that every woman who desires to be a speaker, craft your story. Get some speaker coaching, right? I didn't start speaking internationally around the world just because I just one day decided to wake up and step on stage. I did the work, right? I practice, I prepare, I position myself, right? Your story has the power to open doors for you. My first book, Fearlessly Strutting Your Confidence, I wrote over 10 years ago, and it opened up platforms around the world for me to be able to go and travel and speak. Your book is the first message for you to get your story out there. That first sign of credibility, right? And here's what I always say. Stop waiting. I never waited for someone to invite me on their stage. I created my own. I
Yes.
started my own podcast called Inner Confidence Cafe years ago, and did it for 1 year, where I interviewed other women and then did shows myself where I was just on there alone. Then I was on Periscope. I was on Facebook Live. Stop waiting for other people to open doors for you that you have the power to open for yourself. So if you desire to be a speaker and you haven't stepped on a stage, turn on Facebook Live today. I
Yes.
challenge you today, not tomorrow, and become a speaker. And then start practicing, then start crafting, then start preparing, get some coaching, get in position, right? Guess what? I got you if you need a coach. Get in position so you can prepare yourself for stages around the world, because they're just waiting for you to say yes to what it is you really desire to do. Instead of
Mhm.
just saying it, you got to manifest it. You can't just
Yes.
speak it. Yes, write it down, speak it every day, and then put action towards it so it can manifest to be what it is that you desire to be. But your story is necessary, and there's a stage designed just for you. Don't wait for it to open. Create your own doors to walk through, and then the opportunities will chase you down.
Yes, and ooh, that was good because that was the same thing with me starting my podcast. I had to know, I actually had to go back because I write lists and stuff in my notes in my phone and it's all time stamped. And the first time I said that I was going to do a podcast was in November of 2019, but I still didn't do it. But I still, I don't know what I was waiting on. And it was like, oh, I don't like the way my voice sound on camera. Oh, I don't like the way it look. Oh, I don't like the way this looked. And I went through all of those things. So then we're in the Cornell group together and once I was like, I met so many good people in there that I didn't know. And I always say this that I didn't know anybody in that group. And it has been a blessing when you step out on faith and do what you said you were going to do what you say you want to do. And it does come to life when, like you said, putting action. Once I put action to what I said I was going to do, it's all been rolling out how it's supposed to do. And it's crazy because I've only been doing this for a month and I'm
Wow.
already on episode 12. Like they have been rolling in. So I'm
Absolutely.
grateful that I got over that hump and that fear
Yes.
of how I sounded. Is people going to
Mhm.
listen to it? Where, how I'm gonna find the people who's going to actually like it? I got over those things. So that is
Yeah.
so, so true.
And they say it all the time, perfection is a thief.
Yes.
Perfection will steal your joy, your peace, and your next. So while you are waiting to go walk into your next and you're focusing on perfection, it will never be perfect. And you will never be able to know whether it will be if it never is. And
Yeah.
so we have to start stepping into our next and stop waiting for the opportunity to be perfect because it's not going to be that way. Just take the first step. I always say, listen, you're going to fail along the journey. That's what makes it better. That's what makes it greater, right? And so I'm excited for you. And just to know that in God's timing is always the right time. But don't listen, here's for somebody. Listen, okay, God, I'm going to be obedient.
Yeah.
Don't start trying to pretend you waiting on God because you sitting in perfection or you sitting in procrastination or you sitting in fear. That's not waiting on God. But so you need to make sure you're taking the steps to implement so that when he says yes, you ready. You've already been ready, right? They say be ready so you don't got to get ready.
Yes, I say that all the time. Stay ready so you ain't got to
That's
get
right.
ready. That is a motto of mine for sure because when you stay ready, the opportunities you ready to
Yes.
just kind of hash them out. You kind of, you ready to get them done. So that is so true. I love it. So what are limiting beliefs and how do they typically manifest in our lives, especially concerning money?
Well, because we're most of us the limiting belief manifests because we're afraid to fail.
Yep.
We are afraid of failure. The great Les Brown says, when you fail, because it's inevitable, when you fail, if you can look up, surely you can get back up. So you have to remember it's okay to fail. The problem is we stay wallowing in our failure. Fail and then get back up and figure out what was the lesson in that failure so you don't have to repeat it and you can learn from it and be greater in the next round. And then if you fail in the next round, that's still okay. Learn from that so you can implement it and keep moving forward because eventually it's going to be great. So stop allowing what you say to yourself because your mindset it has the power to change who you become. So what are you saying to yourself? Are you telling yourself you can do this or are you telling yourself, "Oh, well, I don't know if you have what it takes or such and such podcast looks so much better. Oh, they got graphics and video sounds and infomercials and all these highlights coming in." See, when you start worried about what other people are doing, you miss out what God has for you to do. So stop being focused on what everybody around you is doing and get laser focused on what God says is assigned to you because they can't do it like you and you can't do it like them. But what you can do is reach the people who are assigned and attached to you. But it will never happen if you are not writing the vision, like it says, and making it plain so that others can help you run with it, right? So, like you said, you put the message out there in the group, and we came forth to support you. And we're now building out all your episodes with you for your podcast to be successful. So, you guys got to do the same thing. Put it in writing, speak affirmations over it, and watch God manifest it.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. So, how does limiting those beliefs affect our financial decisions and overall financial health?
So, first of all, we have to remember that as women, I'm speaking to the women because men don't seem to have this problem, but we as women do. We hate to talk about money. What? But we love spending money. You
Yep.
can't spend what you don't make. And so, are you positioning yourself to make money, or are you telling yourself, "Oh, well, I don't know if anybody gonna buy"? Because I was that woman 10 years ago when I wrote my first book, Phil Teacher. I said, "Well, I don't know who gonna buy it. Guy, you sure I should write a book?" He says, "Listen, write the book and watch how it manifests. It's in the countries around the world. I've sold thousands of. Come on, y'all. Let's get with it. Let's stop telling ourselves that we can't make the money. Stop waiting to launch the program because you're not sure if anybody's going to join it. Well, you know they won't if you don't launch it. They can't get into the program, right? Stop waiting to write your book because you don't know if somebody's going to buy it. The first 500 people are already set up to purchase it. You just won't put it out there.
Yep.
You're waiting. And
Yep.
so our mindset tells us that, oh, well, my business isn't making money right now. Well, have you positioned it to make money? And then stop falling for the social media highlight reel that says, I can help you make six figures overnight. That is a cliche. If you are not making, well, first of all, six figures is 8,700 and something dollars every single month. If you know you're only bringing in 1,000 right now, and you don't change your mindset to shift to be able to go from 1,000 to 8,000, meaning you're creating programs, writing books, speaking on stages, getting paid. What are you going to do that's going to change that? How are you aligning yourself to get in position for your next financially? What are
Hmm.
you doing?
Yep, yep, that's so true because I think I started my business a few years ago and it's made a little bit of money, but it's not doing what I wanted to do. But it was me because I was scared to get use social media for what it's for. I feel like I keep posting all of that, and then it's like you you don't want people to be like, oh, she posting too much. I don't want to see that. You know, you worried about what other people think about what you're doing for your business. And I'm like, if you don't want to see it, unfollow me. If you don't want to
That's
see it, hide the post. But I'm going to post my business. I'm going to promote what I'm doing because I believe in what I'm doing, and this is what I like to do, and this is what I'm destined to do. So I'm going to live in what I feel like God has for me. So I'm going to post this business. Now I post all the time. I get 5 likes. I don't care.
right.
I get
That's
two.
right.
Don't nobody view it. I don't care. I'm still
That's
sharing
right.
it because I know it's going to reach the person that it needs to reach.
Yeah. So here's what I always say is you can't be a business if you're a hidden secret.
Yep.
So you're a hobby if nobody knows about you. You don't run a business, you have a hobby, an expensive hobby probably. But if you are looking for a lucrative business, you got to show up and
Hmm.
you got to show out and you got to show up consistently and you got to show up and be available, right? Because people buy from people they know, like, and trust. How do they know you if you don't show up? So, are you
Exactly.
showing up so that people can get what you have? And here's what you need to remember you're doing a disservice if you're not showing up, because if your gifts and your talents are not for you. So, if you're holding on to them, the world can't get them if you're not willing to show up and share them. And
Yes.
so that you can monetize off of it, right? So, listen, the money is out there, go get it. There's billions of people in the world. Go get it.
Yes, yes. And I want the whole notion of something is oversaturated or
Right.
it's too many people doing this or so and so did the same thing I'm doing. It's literally money out here for everybody. Some of these companies, billions, billions, these niches, podcasting, billion
Yes.
dollar industry. You know what I'm saying? Like people need to get, and I had to get out of that too. Like, oh, this person I know started this, or that person I know is doing that. It's like it doesn't matter. There is room out there for everybody, and I had to also tell myself that just because I started something doesn't mean that I'm meant to do it. So some stuff I had to let go of
That's
because
right.
it's like this is not for me. Let me let that go and focus on what is for me, and then I seen everything taken off in the way that it's supposed to take off.
That's right. And
Mm.
that's all about that's a part of being a business owner, right? You're going to test and trial certain things. There are going to be programs you run today that 5 years from now or 3 years from now you don't have anymore, right? It's
Yep.
an archive. It's something you give away maybe for free to bless someone or bless your email list. It doesn't mean that you're always going to be doing it. It doesn't mean that you failed at it either. It just meant you've grown. And now it's time for the next level assignment that you're assigned to.
Yes, yes, that is so good. So, can you share a personal experience or a story of someone you worked with who overcame their limited beliefs about money?
Wow. So one of my clients where she always felt like, okay, I don't know, if this business is going to be able to make money. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be making money yet. And I'm saying, okay, here's the deal. Your first 1, 2 years of business is not going to be that six-figure business. Stop, because social media tells you that, right? And she had to say, okay, you know what? And I had to say, first of all, I had to ask, I said, I don't see you posting about what you can do, what services you offer, right? I see you maybe do it in our private group amongst us, but what about the world that's on your social media page? And so she started posting, she started telling people what she offers. She created her own group on Facebook, and so she was able to market to them. She connected with other people so she can offer her services as an add-on to other people in their program. And now she's doing amazing, and she sees the fruit of her business. You have to actually get out there. And again, it's all about showing up, being visible, and being consistent. No one can buy from a best kept secret because they don't know you exist. And so, who are you sharing with? Who do you have sharing about you? And are you getting testimonials that you can share that shows who you are and that highlights who you are? So, keep putting yourself out there, because when someone thinks about you, or someone thinks about what you do, then they're going to remember you. I hear people say all the time, when somebody say they want to put somebody on their stage to talk about confidence, I say, oh my God, you better call Regina, because she's going to come and kill it. So
Yeah.
what are people going to be known? What are you known for? Who are people?
Mhm.
Why are you in the mouths of other people? Because that's important.
That's very, very important. I learned that this year, that just from somebody that I didn't know. Well, the girl that I knew, she was telling me that the other girl that she knew was talking about my business and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, that kind of surprised me, because now I notice how me putting myself out there, even if I'm getting no's, now people are starting to talk about what I'm doing. So I'm like, I have to keep my business name in the mouths of other people, like you said, if I want it to make it to the right person that it's supposed to be in their hands. Because I learned too that a lot of people say they're going to help you, or a lot of people say they're going to support your business, or they're going to email you later. I have gotten a lot of that, and they don't. But it's always so important for me to put my business in the forefront, because now you're going to remember who I am.
Yes, yes. Yep.
Yes.
You got to put it out there.
Yep. Yep. So, what role does emotional intelligence play in building confidence, and how can women develop this skill?
Wow. I believe that's the catalyst of it all. It's how you see you. It's who you believe you are. It's who you are desiring to become. That's all around your emotions drive who you're going to become. So if you're emotionally telling yourself you're not going to be great, you're not going to be great. If you're emotionally telling yourself you're not enough, then you're going to feel like you're not enough. And so how are you, again, that goes back to, what are you feeding yourself? I always say we really don't care about what other people think about us. We really don't. The biggest thing that we should care about is how we speak and think about ourselves. That's what matters the most. What you say to yourself matters more than what anybody could ever say to you or about you. And so you want to make sure from this day forward, you are speaking nothing but life and positivity into yourself. And when them negative thoughts start coming, you need to make sure you are prepared to catapult them into positive thoughts and into a reminder of who you are. And if you don't know who you are, go and find out who you are. Start studying who you are. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? And most importantly, don't ever desire to become a copycat of somebody else you see, because that is not who you are designed to be. You are great as you are. Be who you are so the world can experience the impact of who you are.
So, how do you balance personal and professional growth? And what tips do you have for women striving to achieve this balance?
Wow. So I always say it's harmony and not balance. I create harmony in my life. And so although I pour out to in both of my businesses all year long, I pause. And every year I take off, and people say, oh my God, how can you do that? Because I've worked hard to make sure I'm positioned and have planned and have prepared. So every year I take off starting November 6th through, I mean, I'm sorry, November 16th through January 2nd,
Oh,
and I take off. I'm closed. I don't coach. I don't work. I don't do any of that. I work behind the scenes sometimes to make sure my business is in place for the next coming year. I get centered. I get quiet so I can hear what's next and what I need to dismantle. Because just like you said, some things you did, but you don't want to do anymore, right? But you can't hear that if you're just running in the rigmarole of I got to keep going, 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 going. Because the world says hustle, hustle, hustle. No, when you're working and walking in favor, you ain't got to hustle. And so literally this year, I'm even doing it different. This will be year 4. I've started doing this. This year, I'm doing it different where I'm leaving and I'm totally disconnecting for that time. No working, no nothing. Disconnecting so that I can really get clear and say, okay, God, what's next? Because I believe if you want to walk into your next, you got to prepare for your next. You got to position yourself for that next. And so find that harmony, find that balance. I'm a lifelong learner. I am always trying to learn more. I am always trying to become a better version of myself, meaning greater. I am always disrupting who I am to become who I am supposed to be. Because every day I believe I'm supposed to be greater than the day I was the day before. Because every day I should be growing. I should be evolving. I should be like becoming better. And so, are you desiring to be better? Because that's a part of your harmony in your personal and your business. Don't become great in your business that you are not great in you. 10 years ago, this is a part of my journey, is when it started for me. I had a great business with a solid foundation, but the true foundation of my business was crumbling, and that was me. I didn't love myself. I didn't believe in myself. I was unhappy and did not love who I saw in the mirror. But I thank God today, I love the woman I see. And I love her more and more every single day. But you got to be willing to pause and do the work so that the work doesn't succumb you, that you don't even know who you are. Because you need to be full to be able to walk in your purpose. So never forget that.
Yeah, that's good. One of my earlier episodes, a therapist talked about sitting in silence and solitude. So
Yes.
you do have to sit in that time by yourself to just be quiet so you can hear the next steps. And I think that was my problem. I'm always on a go, 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 go. What can I do next? I'm zipping around, like real fast, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And it's like, now, no, I can focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what I said this time. I'm going to take the podcast. I'm going to do season 1 and I'm going to take a break over the holidays and then start it back after the new year
That's
because
it.
I know me. I'll keep going, 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 and going with no breaks. And it's just like, then now I'm burnt out and I don't even want to do it anymore.
Yeah. And
So,
then and here's what it really gives you. It gives you a time to reflect and say, what did you like? What do you feel like you need to pivot and adjust? And what can maybe be differently done? But when you keep going, you don't have time for any observation.
mm,
You don't have time to go back and reflect all too often. And here's the deal. Here's the biggest thing. You don't have time to celebrate
yep.
because you went from that to that. And so I encourage everyone listening to us today on this podcast, take time to pause and celebrate every milestone. You've done so much already in these 10 months. Have you celebrated what you've done in these 10 months? Or are you just continually moving and never patting yourself on the back to say, girl, you did that? Girl, that was amazing. Or man, you did that, right? So
Mhm.
pause and celebrate not just the big wins, but every win that you make. Celebrate yourself because then it will give you fuel for the next win and the next win and the next win.
Yes, yes, that break does recharge you really, really good.
Yes.
So, what are some key financial habits that women should adopt to achieve financial independence and stability?
We got to stop spending more than we make.
Yeah, a budget.
We got to budget. We got to stop spending before we even earned it, right? Like I know as business owners, sometimes business people have this tendency to spend before they've earned it. Well, what happens if all of a sudden everybody drops out of what you thought you pre-sold? Now you don't have that money, but you've already spent it.
Yep.
We have to start creating, first of all, we got to invest in ourselves. That's the first thing. Because the world tells, oh, well, you don't need to invest in yourself. You got this. Listen, stop saying you're a coach if you don't have a coach. Stop saying you're a mentor if you don't have a mentor. All of that matters. And you have to be willing to invest in yourself. Stop asking somebody to invest in you, but you're not willing to invest in you. You
Yep.
can't ask somebody to buy a program from you at this price and you've never paid that price in coaching for yourself. Are you kidding me? Because you've not learned at that level, but you're asking someone to learn from you at that level. That doesn't match. That doesn't align. The math ain't mathing, okay? And so we need to make sure we're investing in ourselves first. We need to make sure we're not spending before we make. Number two. Number three, we need to make sure we're saving. Your business is not just for spending. Are you investing back in your business?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that investment within your business? Number four, are you putting your money where it's making money for you? Like, hello, we need to put our money where it's making money for us. Number five, are you setting up legacy? That should
Yep.
have been one, but are you setting up legacy so that your children's children can have what they need, so that your business can be passed on if you want it to be, or it can be sold off and you make money from it? What are you doing to financially set yourself up for success?
Yes, yes, that's what I thought about too. And I had to get out of the, I didn't know, nobody taught me thing. I had to get out there and get the information on my own, and
Yeah.
which I'm grateful for because it allowed me to read, to
Mhm.
understand the information, and like you said, reach out, get a mentor, ask people questions. I just learned that it's okay to ask people questions. Even if you get rejected, just ask the next person.
That's right.
Find a mentor is so important. It's been hard for me to find a mentor, but I finally found somebody who was willing to drop some gems on me. You know what I'm saying? Without feeling like they needed something back out of me. They genuinely wanted to help me with my business. So it's just like you have to find your tribe, and it may not be somebody that you already know. And that's what I had
Yes,
to
yes,
remember.
yes, yes. And I say this too, when we are looking for people to mentor us, right? Because a mentor is different from a coach. But if you are looking for someone to mentor you and you are coming to them, don't come asking for what you can get and you're not willing to give. Mentorship is reciprocity. Mentorship is not you just expecting a person to pour into you all the time and you have nothing to give back. And giving back can even just be you saying, "Oh, can I come with you to your speaking engagement and just support you?" There
Yes.
have been mentors where I have gone to, I'm a speaker too, internationally, and I have gone and served my mentors, and people in the room didn't even know I was a speaker. They didn't need to know. I'm there to be at the feet of my mentor, to learn, to be able to glean from them so that I can be in the room, so I can be in the space, right? Because I want to give back because they're giving to me. So, what is it that don't just come asking, but be willing to give also? Because that's what true mentorship is. And so it shouldn't just be give, I mean, take, take, take. It's give and take. And so always remember that when you're looking for the right mentor, because a mentor is going to ask you to, and know what you want from your mentor, right? Don't come
Yep.
just, oh, I want a mentor. What do you want from that mentorship relationship? What do you want to get out of that relationship? What is it that you need from that person you are asking to mentor you? Because if you don't know, you can't expect them to know.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's where I'm learning now what a mentor is really for because I didn't have one before. I was kind of doing everything on my own. But now I understand what a mentor's place is in my life and in my business because, like you say, you have to reciprocate actions too. So I make sure I show up to, like you speaking engagements, anything. I make sure I support people also the
That's
way that
right.
they support me because I will want the same thing in return.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, in your experience, what are the most significant barriers women face in the business world and how can they overcome them?
I think for us is dimming our light, not showing up authentically as ourselves, and not being unapologetic about how great we are. I know that because I've experienced that. I would literally show up times at events and I would get on stage, and because I didn't want to outshine other people, I would dim my light. And God had to tell me, listen, surely as I put you up here, I will sit you down
Yep.
if you keep on dimming your light. And so now I show up, I got my high beams on shining bright, and you just need sunglasses to catch up or keep up. I want to give you some of that glow too, but guess what? I ain't gonna dim mine so that you can feel better than who you are. Because I'm not different because of you and you're not different because of me. We're individuals and we should be able to, as women, show up and support one another, shine amongst each other because we have the power when we come together and support one another to change the world. Especially us women as Black African American women. But we have got to get past always backbiting each other, trying to climb up on each other's back instead of pulling each other up when we rise. right? Maya Angelou said, yet we rise. When we rise, we ought to make sure there's another sister coming right behind us to rise right alongside us. Otherwise, when you get to the top alone, you're there for no reason because you're by yourself.
Yep.
Who's there with you to celebrate? Who's there with you for you to support? Who's there with you as your tribe?
Yes, yes, that is so good because I feel like if you're not in the right group, it'll always feel like you're in a competition
Yes.
rather than getting the support that you need, for your business. So I'm starting to figure that out too, is I want to be around people I can help also. I love helping people, giving away free information, but I also want to be around people who are not in competition with me.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to be around. So I always say this too. Don't be afraid to be around people in a different age group also. Right. So just because I'm 51, don't mean I don't rock with the 30-year-old girls, right? Or women, right?
Mhm.
Because they have something for me and I have something for them. Don't be
Yep.
afraid to rock with the 60. When I first started coaching, I was in my 40s and I was so surprised to have women in their 60s in my program. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, so I have all my platform has always resonated with women over 40, right? But then I have another group or subset of young women that are in their 30s and early, high 20s and 30s. But it all varies. And so don't be afraid to have that versatility of who you are because you can attract multiple people to who you are. They can see the courage from in you.
Yes, yes, that is so good. And I'm getting out of that too, meeting people out of my age bracket, and it has been great. I have learned a lot of things, seen a lot of things, so it has been really, really good. How do you stay motivated and inspired in your work, especially during challenging times?
Wow. So I will not sit here and apologize, for there are days when I want to give up. I don't ever want anybody to think that we only give the highs and we don't talk about the lows. There are days when I am exhausted and like, okay, God, I think I'm done, right? Because there are times when you give, and no one acknowledges that.
Yep.
But you got to be okay with knowing that just because they might, and it's always right at this time, I'll be like, okay, God, someone will drop in my inbox and say, you know what? I just want you to know I see you. You know what? You blessed me the other day when maybe you went live. I don't even know if you knew you were talking directly to me, right? Or someone to say, oh my God, you're such a blessing. You're such a light. You're such a glow. Because those are the reminders that you sometimes need. When you're always given, sometimes you just need that one person to say to you, I see you. We need
Yes.
that too. Because when you're sitting in the greatness seat, you do need to be reminded sometimes that you're still okay. Because just because you feel great, don't mean you're going to always feel great, right?
Yep.
And so you need to be a reminder to yourself, but you also need to be connected. That's about having the right people in your tribe, right? That won't just take from you, but they will give to you as well. And they will remind you that, guess what? I see you, because you often need that. And sometimes the reminder needs to come from you and outside of you as well.
Yeah, yeah, that is good because I received a couple messages from people, and sometimes you don't even think those people see what you're doing.
Yes.
So it feels good when they inbox you or send you a message like, "Hey, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed what you're doing. Keep it up." And it's like it come and I was surprised, like those are the people I never thought that were even paying attention.
Yes.
So I was like, I told myself like, you got to keep going because you never know who you're reaching when you
That's
do these
right.
types of things.
That's right.
That's really good. What are some of the most valuable lessons you learned from your journey and how they have shaped your approach to empowering others?
The biggest one has been to stop being afraid to fail. That has been my biggest learning lesson. When I got that down pat, let me tell you something. The first time I heard Les Brown say that, I said, I'm set for life now because I already know I can keep looking up and getting back up, right? And that I don't have to stay down. All too often in the beginning, I was failing and staying there in the failure, just wallowing. And then I realized, guess what? I don't have to wallow. And when I get back up this time, I'm stronger than I was before I fell down. If I just keep remembering that, I got the strength to pull myself back up, right? And so I always say, if you remember the great Muhammad Ali, he would always say before he even got in the ring and he jumped in the ring talking about the champ is here, the champ is here, right? He was declaring he was a champion before he even won his fight. We keep the problem with us, we declare we've lost before we've even started the fight. We ought to be declaring declare we're a champion before we even get into it. Whatever you're going to do, whatever you're planning to do as you count down 2024, walk in 2025, declare it on today to that manifestation. The champ is here. Remind yourself you're a champion because it's your birthright. You own that. You believe that. And so now I remind myself all the time, girl, you a champion. You unstoppable. You can't stop unless you decide to stop. And in this world, I'm never giving up on me.
Yay, yay, that is great. I needed that because I feel like sometimes I don't feel like the champ, but
Yeah.
now that I'm working on me, and I think that's the number one thing
Yeah.
that people need to do is work on them, and then you will be able to receive those things. What is one last word that you want to leave our listeners off with today?
To remind everyone listening, you are unstoppable. Nothing can stop you but you. And you have to decide today that giving up on you is never an option. You owe it to yourself to be the greatest version of you. You owe it to yourself to disrupt who you think you are and become who you know you deserve to be. And that is great. That is amazing. That is unstoppable. And to all my ladies, that is fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes, yes. I love it. I love it. One last thing, where can our listeners connect with you? Where can we get your book? Tell us a little bit about where we can find you.
So I'm on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and I think TikTok as Regina Robinson Speaks. Again, Regina Robinson Speaks with the S on the end of speak on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. My website is reginarobinsonspeaks.com. And you can grab my book, Fearlessly Strutting Your Confidence, on my website, as well as my last book, which is The Journey of 30 Unstoppable Women of the Bible. It's a journal outlining 30 women of the Bible. It's an amazing journey. It's also a video Bible study that you can get free when you get the book. You can get that also on my website. And again, it's reginarobinsonspeaks.com. And I'm Regina Robinson Speaks all over social media. And I also have a Facebook community called Unstoppable Women of Faith. And it's a free Facebook community, Unstoppable Women with an E on Women of Faith.
Perfect, perfect. I'll be sure to link all of those in the show notes so everybody can go directly to all of your great things you have going on. We appreciate you for coming on today. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you for listening to Get Your Coin Sis podcast. You guys have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Get Your Coin Sis podcast. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and empowering. Remember, every step you take towards personal growth and financial literacy brings you closer to your goals. Stay connected with us on social media and share your thoughts and stories. Until next time, keep striving, keep believing, and keep trusting in God's plan for your life. Stay blessed and see you in the next episode.